The glass in my father's hand chimed softly as he lifted it and said, "Let's honor the true achievement, your sister's new job." For a moment, I thought I'd misheard him. The chandelier light fractured across the crystal rim, scattering reflections over the dining room walls like applause meant for someone else. My graduation banner hung behind me, crooked now, as if even it were trying to slip out of sight. My mother nodded, smiling at my sister. My aunt leaned close to her and whispered, not quietly enough, "At least she truly deserved it." The room smelled of roasted lamb and expensive wine I'd secretly paid for. Their laughter folded over me, soft and polite, like soil being patted down over a coffin. I didn't protest. I didn't defend myself. I didn't remind them whose money had kept their lights on for 3 years. I just watched. And in that quiet moment, I decided this celebration would be the last gift I ever gave them. My name rarely sounded right in that house unless it was followed by a request. I was the dependable one, the quiet solution, the child who didn't mind because I'd never been asked if I did. My sister was brilliance and applause, I was background and logistics. When bills arrived, they slid across the table toward me without eye contact, as if the paper itself knew its destination. I worked nights through university, telling classmates I liked the solitude, though really I liked the certainty. Numbers balanced, effort rewarded, outcomes earned. At home, effort vanished into the family air like steam. If something went wrong, they sighed my name. If something went right, they praised hers. They called me practical, which was their gentlest word for forgettable. I learned early that silence made people comfortable. Silence let them believe their version of me. Patient, harmless, endlessly available. They never noticed how carefully I listened, how precisely I remembered, how quietly I kept records. Dates, amounts, promises. By graduation night, they thought they understood me completely. What they didn't understand was that invisibility isn't weakness. It's camouflage. My father didn't even look at me after the toast. He turned his shoulders slightly, angling his body toward my sister the way sunflowers lean toward light. The guests followed his gaze, conversations pivoting with soft clinks of cutlery. I stood there holding an untouched glass, watching condensation slide down its side and pool against my fingers. My sister laughed modestly when they praised her, lowering her eyes in practiced humility. She had perfected that expression years ago, the delicate balance between shyness and expectation. My mother adjusted the collar of her blouse, smoothing it with careful hands, the way she used to fix mine before school photos, back when she still remembered I existed in frames. "Stability matters," my aunt said gently to no one in particular, though her eyes flicked toward me. "Not everyone is meant for big things." A pause followed, polite and brief, like a door closing softly. Someone changed the subject. Someone refilled my sister's glass. No one asked why mine was still full. I smiled when spoken to, nodded when appropriate. And all the while I counted. Not money. Not favors. Moments. It wasn't the toast that decided it. It was the bill. Near the end of the evening, after dessert plates sat half-cleared and compliments had thinned into yawns, the restaurant manager approached our table with a discreet leather folder. He hesitated, just a fraction, then set it beside my elbow instead of my father's. Habit is a language people speak without realizing. My father didn't correct him. He simply kept talking about my sister's bright future, fingers steepled, voice warm with borrowed pride. My mother didn't notice where the folder lay. My sister did. She glanced at it, then at me, then looked away, accepting the arrangement as naturally as breathing. I opened it. The total was precise, itemized, undeniable. Months of late-night work condensed into ink and currency symbols. I slid my card inside without comment. The manager thanked me by name, quietly, respectfully, the only person that night who had. Something inside me settled. Not anger. Not hurt. Recognition. They hadn't betrayed me tonight. They'd simply revealed the final proof of what I had always been to them. A resource, not a daughter. I signed the receipt. And for the first time I stopped hoping they'd change. I didn't act that night. Impulses loud, and I wanted silence. By the time we reached home, they were tired and satisfied, drifting off with the soft confidence of people whose lives function without their supervision. I went to my room, opened my laptop, and logged into the systems I'd built for them over the years. The shared accounts, the automated payments, the quiet safeguards they barely knew existed. Every password had been generated by me, stored by me, recoverable only through me. They used those tools daily without once asking how they worked. I work in financial systems analysis. My job is risk assessment, contingency planning, exit protocols. I don't break things. I redesign structures so they stand or fall exactly when intended. One by one, I reviewed everything. The loan consolidations in my name, the subscriptions routed through my cards, the emergency fund I disguised as a miscellaneous household buffer. I didn't delete anything. I documented, downloaded, archived. Precision matters. Timing matters more. At 6:52 a.m., I scheduled the final email, attachments labeled, statements clear, tone courteous. Then I changed every authorization setting at once. No alarms. No warnings. Just a system quietly returning to its original owner. At 7 a.m., the house was still wrapped in sleep when the first notification sounded. It came from my father's phone, a soft chime from the kitchen counter. Then my mother's upstairs. Then my sister's, sharp and brief through the wall. 3 notes, slightly out of sync, like instruments tuning before a performance they didn't know they were about to give. I was already dressed, seated at the dining table with a cup of coffee warming my hands. The morning light slipped through the curtains in pale strips, laying quiet bars across the floor. A chair scraped above me. Footsteps. My mother's voice, thin with confusion. "What is this email?" Another pause. My father's heavier steps followed, slower, deliberate. He opened the message aloud, reading lines I'd written with careful neutrality. A summary of accounts closed, payments withdrawn, authorizations revoked, balances transferred. Attached were the records, dates, totals, confirmations. Nothing dramatic. Just facts. Silence gathered as he read. My sister came last, phone in hand, her face drained of its usual composure. She didn't speak. None of them did. I sipped my coffee while their world recalculated itself around the absence of me. My father was the first to sit down. Not heavily, not dramatically. Just a slow lowering into the chair across from me, like a man discovering gravity had quietly increased. He reread the email on his phone, thumbs scrolling back to the top as if the facts might rearrange themselves into something kinder. My mother didn't sit. She stood near the doorway, clutching her robe closed, eyes moving between us, searching for the familiar script where I reassured everyone it was fine. When no such line arrived, her voice did, soft and uncertain. "You closed them?" "Yes," I said. My sister finally spoke, but not to apologize. "You should have warned us." Her tone wasn't angry, just inconvenienced. That, more than anything, clarified the years behind me. No one shouted. No accusations flew. The room simply filled with the sound of consequences settling into place. Mortgage due dates. Credit limits. Numbers they had never needed to learn because I had learned them for them. They looked at me differently then, not with love, not with anger, but with recognition. And that's why this matters. Because sometimes the loudest revenge isn't revenge at all. It's removal. I didn't leave immediately. I finished my coffee first because I'd rushed too many endings in that house already. The warmth in the cup felt steady, earned, uncomplicated, a small thing that belonged entirely to me. No one spoke while I drank. For once, they didn't expect me to fill the silence. I realized then that freedom doesn't arrive like a storm. It arrives like stillness. The kind that lets you hear your own thoughts instead of everyone else's expectations. I wasn't angry anymore. Anger ties you to people, clarity releases you. What I felt instead was proportion, the quiet understanding that I had finally given exactly what I'd received. They would adjust. People always do when comfort disappears. Maybe they'd learn responsibility. Maybe they'd only learn inconvenience. Either way, it would no longer be my lesson to teach. I stood, set the empty cup in the sink, and picked up my bag. No one stopped me. No one asked me to. Outside, the morning air felt wider than it ever had before. For the first time in my life, I wasn't leaving home. I was leaving a role.